Hey, welcome to our next episode of Stronger Marriage. Joy and I are thrilled to have Jonathan and Marilyn Gonzalez all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, but originally not from Charlotte.
No.
Yeah.
Born and raised South Carolina.
Born and raised South Carolinians. So there are probably a ton of people who are not familiar with who you guys are, just the nature of time.
Yeah.
But Jonathan and Marilyn were a part of the church family for years before we even came. They were at Christian Life. And then we served together in youth ministry for a number of years. Mm-hmm. Some of my favorite years were with y'all. And I don't say that lightly. But it was a really good time. So for everybody who may not be super familiar, give us like the elevator pitch of who you are and like your family life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So Jonathan, Marilyn, we've been married, going to be 24 years.
Next month?
Wow.
This month. No, yeah. We at
Next
the end
month.
of May, in 2 weeks. So we'll be married 24 years. We got 4 kids. Our oldest just got married. Dom, he's 21.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We got Adi, she's 20. Sonny is 19. Lyric is 16. So yeah, that's wild.
That's us.
Yeah.
That's
We moved up to Charlotte in 2020 when COVID kind of just went wide open. So I think it was June of 2020, we closed on the house and family moved up July, 4th of July weekend in 2020. So it's been 6 years since we've been here.
So it was Father's Day of 2020 where I came down with COVID. And then Joy came down. Our whole family fell down.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all took our newborn, Aubrey, who's now 6.
Yeah.
That's
And
I remember
she
that.
stayed with y'all because we were all dying.
Yeah.
Okay, and what they didn't tell us is they got COVID
Oh, yeah.
because we
I
passed it
forgot
along
about
through
that.
the baby and didn't know it. But she didn't tell me for like a
You're
year.
welcome.
Yeah. I think
That's
but
good
I was-
friends.
I think
No, I was about to
good,
say
though.
that's the kind of friends.
We need to be there.
I was
That's
good
what-
though. I was only up for the weekend, I think.
Yeah. So you didn't.
So I had to
Oh.
go back to work.
Oh.
So I was going back
He
and
escaped.
forth.
The rest of us were.
So everybody who was taking care
Yeah.
of our
Yeah,
baby
yeah.
actually ended up getting sick. Cool.
Basically,
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
That's
Time
amazing,
flies.
though. Yeah, but God's doing a lot,
Yeah.
and the family is flourishing and all
Yes.
that. So we're very thankful for y'all. Tell us a little bit about how you met, where you met, how things kind of transpired there.
We met at Southeastern University.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan from Fort Lauderdale, me from South Carolina. And we happened to be in the same master's commission. So it's like a
Yes.
discipleship program. And so we joined that one. And then I happened to see him sitting there with a lot of people around him. And I was like, nah, I don't think I like that guy.
Wait, what?
I was like, whatever he is, like he's popular,
Is he
whatever.
too much?
Yeah, I was like, that's too much. But then come to find out, like he was silent. People were like, he talks? I'm like, yeah, he talks. And
Only
he
to
pursued
me.
me. So I'm like, our friend, his girlfriend and my best friend were roommates in Minnesota. So that's how we met.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So he pursued her
Oh, yeah.
the way it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We just naturally connected. Like we had a similar sense of humor. We couldn't date anyways, technically in Master's Commission the first year, so it wasn't like we were looking for that. But
Oh, you were looking.
yeah,
We weren't looking, but we were looking.
I heard
right.
the technically allowed
Yeah,
is what I heard.
technically, Yeah, but
Technically.
it was just an easy friendship that started out where we just had fun together. And before we knew it, when they finally said we could date, I think it was in like April, we went to the beach and we made it official. And then when we came back in June, like two months later, I proposed to her.
2 months later.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. But then she went back home to work full time for the next full semester, and we got married in June. So we
Nice.
put maybe a good year.
I told
just
people I
raising
was
money.
not going to come home with a ring because everybody was like ring by spring.
Right.
I was like, not me. No. But then, yeah.
But then it happened.
Yeah.
So-
it happened.
I love that. So one of the things I've always loved about your marriage relationship is the friendship part of it. I feel like you guys like genuinely enjoy each other. There are so many other aspects. One of the reasons we want to bring you on for this segment specifically is because I've always felt like you guys have always like I said this morning, you serve the Lord individually. There's been a pursuit, but I feel like you guys have always pursued in tandem. There's always been a pursuit collectively, like the intermingling type thing, and it's kind of rare. It just is, and I think it's so good to kind of take a step back and recalibrate. What does that look like in a real practical sense? But not this picturesque, ideal thing. But what does it look like in the raw? And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to ask you guys to be a part of this. And so I guess that's kind of where I want to start the convo and just talk about as it relates to a couple pursuing the Lord, what does it look like? I mean, there are 1,000 ways that we can pursue the Lord together, but what has worked for you as a couple?
I don't know. I think for us, like, again, because we connected so well, we were fortunate where our convictions lined up as well. So it wasn't a lot of work we had to do to make sure spiritually we was on the same page. Yeah. So to put our hands to work together, it really was very natural. We enjoyed being around each other. We believed the same thing. So putting our hands to work for the same mission it was easy. Yeah. So I think when you have those components, you believe the same way, you love him genuinely. And it's not, neither of us were like trying to earn a place in anyone's world. Like, we just wanted to serve the Lord. Yeah. So it wasn't about us. It made ministry so easy because, again, it was at its very nature, it was about him. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, still to this day, there's a lot that we can do together where it's not an issue. Yeah, and I guess it's just because, again, going to the heart of it, it's not about us. Yeah. So whatever we need to do.
And honestly, really, even our friendship, we were very, I feel like we talked a lot about the things that we wanted and the experiences that we wanted to have. And the main thing that always kept coming up was our relationship with the Lord. Like, what does that look like for us together, rather than just, I believe this and you believe that. It was like we were trying to come together to figure this thing out. And so it's something that didn't just, it was natural, but there were definitely moments, I think, that we were intentional about, this is what we want for ourselves, what we didn't see for, in our parents' relationship. And we kind of come to the table and saying, I want something different.
Yeah. So you guys carry, when we're talking specifically serving, because that's, I feel like you guys do that as good as anybody I've ever seen. You're a couple who serve in ministries together. But the interesting thing is you guys are gifted very differently. There is an anointing that's different on Jonathan than it is Marilyn. And sometimes that can be good and sometimes it can compete. Yeah. And so tell me about that.
Yeah. I genuinely don't think we ever felt any competition. I've told her this before, for me, she's probably my favorite worship leader. Yeah. And it's because of her humility. Huh?
Same.
Yeah. It's her humility and just her genuine desire for the Lord. Yeah. It's not hype. You're not trying to coerce me in any way. So I think when we were in college, the idea is, I know I was called to preach. She had a heart for worship. In the natural, it's like, oh, this is a perfect set.
Right.
But there has been seasons where she, God opened up doors for her, and I played more of a role of, when we used to serve here, she would be up early at the break of dawn here. Yeah. I would be home getting all 4 kids ready, and we would be then coming to service. Never once did I feel like jealous or man, this is wrong. No, again, it's just never been that way. So we've never felt I could only speak for myself. I've never felt the tension of man, it's not fair, or, everyone genuinely, when we were here, they loved Marilyn. They knew Marilyn. It's oh, Marilyn's the best, and I understood it. She has just a warm personality. So it made sense. I think the insecurity can cause the competition. I genuinely don't care what anyone thinks of me. And I'm not striving for a platform. So there is no insecurity where I need my gift to make room for me so that I can feel validated.
That's good.
So I think that helps with us. There is no competition with that.
Yeah. And I think too, I don't know, some of this was when we first started dating. I think having those conversations about what we wanted, the thought never crossed our minds to not do ministry together. So like even I remember we joined a really tiny church in Lakeland, and it was, I mean, when I say tiny, it was tiny. It was like 10 people there.
Right.
But like I remember they wanted us to help serve in youth, and it wasn't even a like, I'm going to do this. Do you want to do it? It was, hey, are we doing this together? So I think even from the beginning, it's always been, we want to do this together. We're a team. And so I think it was just a natural progression of our relationship to say, we want to do whatever God wants us to do, but we want to do it together.
Yeah.
It's my partner.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's looked different, though, even with us, but I see you guys now. You are serving together, but your roles are still different.
Yes.
But I do see there is you guys are bonded in just a different way. Like this is pretty rare, but I love it. No competition. And I've not seen that in y'all. So that was a great question because there are times you can feel that rise up. Like, I feel like the enemy just uses the smallest of things sometimes, and you got to get that stuff in check. So, but I love it that your foundation started, like even from the beginning, okay, the foundation's good. So it's like you've just grown from there.
Yeah.
And so I love that you started out serving together. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah, and I think back to the insecurity factor that rises up. I'm sure that's especially true because every couple is not equally balanced in their gifting, if that makes sense, if I can say that gently.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have couples where there's a strong gifting or a strong anointing, and then you have the other spouse where the gifting is just maybe not a platform type. Maybe it's more behind the scenes where there's truly a gift, but it's not as out in front. I can definitely see how insecurity could rise inside that person. Just like, well, I serve just as hard as they do, but it's just behind the scenes. And again, I know that can come across as, well, stop being selfish, but it's real.
But it's
like
real.
those are real feelings,
Yeah.
And so it is neat to see guys at your caliber doing so well in that. But I can assume there are probably others who struggle
Oh, yeah.
in that regard.
Well, I think like you said this morning, if you can spur on your spouse to live out what God has designed them to do, which is not always easy, but if you can have that at the forefront of your mind, then I think you're already you're truly creating a stronger marriage, but you're empowering them in ways they didn't know. Like even like you're saying, like you were at home getting 4 kids ready. That's not easy. And you could easily be like, well, that's typically what the mom's doing. So what?
Yeah.
You were on the platform when times you weren't, but I look and I'm seeing like there's almost like this give and take that you guys have done throughout the years, but you've always still served together.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And guys, I would think would struggle, especially that scenario. It would be like, why is my wife, whatever.
I think too early, like Jonathan was better at it than me. I think I didn't really know that we needed to. Kind of the diagram that you showed where both of you were going up. I think that was what I had always understood relationship to be like. Jonathan was very quick in the beginning, even in our dating time, to ask me questions like, what do you feel like the Lord wants to do in your life? What do you feel called to? Things that I was like, what am I supposed to say? Like, I don't. And I remember he'd say, all right, let's meet this Friday and here are some questions. I'm just curious. I want to know.
Wow.
And I remember sitting at a Barnes and Noble, and I had at the time really struggled with the idea of whether or not I could lead worship. And that was one of his questions of what you felt like God wants to do. It was the first time that I had ever said it out loud. And I think that became like the catalyst in our relationship for future things. It just became, this is my partner. I want to walk towards this with you. And so he's always been sort of the.
Yeah.
So something that he asked you, basically he spoke into your soul.
Yes.
Like he called it out.
Yes.
Even though it was there. Like that's so intriguing to me that the question called that out of you. And it proves the point that those conversations, that communications, those questions, they really do matter. They can really draw you closer.
Bro, how intentional.
Yeah.
How old were you?
18.
Golly.
And you were probably just trying to get to know her better.
Yeah.
But again, your foundation was already the Lord. So like, of course you can talk about those sorts of things when that's your foundation. So.
But I think that's so hyper intentional. And I think that what the cause of many couples in their struggle is sometimes just a lack of intentionality. You know, it's the idea that marriages don't just fall apart, they drift apart.
Yes.
And it's slow, it's a slow burn over time, when it really just requires the intentional, whether the questions or the prodding or the inspiration or the, you know, the spurring on. And it's been amazing to me, the small, I can point to half a dozen small things right now that Joy has done that the average person would look at and be like, okay, but bro, it lit a fire inside of me. And it was because she intentionally took that step. And I think there's a real lack. And sometimes I don't think the unintentionality is always intentional.
Right.
I think it just happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And you just forget, or other things become a priority or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
And I think you saying the intentionality, because sometimes we were talking a little bit about this in the car, just that it's so easy to coast. Like some of that stuff, especially if it doesn't come natural, it feels very much, it's awkward. It's like, can I ask this?
For sure.
And I think Jonathan stepping into that role of leading me was such an important aspect of our relationship, because I feel like he didn't just let me do whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I wasn't just floundering around. It was like, hey, what are we doing here? Like let's intentionally walk towards this. So I think because it doesn't come natural for people, I think they think it doesn't apply to them, and that's not something they need to do, or hey, well, I'm just not built this way. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes intentionality.
We still do like family devos, and there's no right way to start it. Because I'll send a text like, guys, can we get up tonight? And they're like, we get together,
okay?
Like, what's happening?
What's going
and I'm
on?
like, I don't know how to like start a serious conversation with y'all without you thinking like we're gonna move again.
Yeah, right.
What are you gonna take from us?
So I say that just to say like there may always be a discomfort with you leading.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna always feel like everything just feels right. But it's embracing the discomfort and just kind of still walking through what you know. You're supposed to do in this position.
Sometimes you just got to do it.
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter how it feels.
Exactly.
I remember when I would drive Easton to school, and every day, you know, we'd be in the car. I'd have a little road rage or whatever. No, I'm kidding. but we'd be in the car every day, and I wanted to read scripture and pray with him every day. And so it looks so different. Like some days he would read while I was driving, other days we'd wait till we get to school and I would read, and then I would pray, he would pray. It would look so different. But I remember in the beginning, it was so clunky. It just felt just like, bro, we're forcing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But today, when we look back on it, those are fond memories.
Yes.
Those were fond moments where his heart was being shaped. My heart was being shaped.
Yeah.
But it was just like, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, you've got a big exam. We're still going to pray. We're still going to do. And I think that culture-wise, you know, everything needs to feel right.
Right.
And if it doesn't feel right, it's just not worth it. Or maybe I shouldn't be doing it. And I'm like, no, you still do it. You just do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes that's lost.
It's a discipline. Like for us, it's not just, it's like anything that you want in the kingdom. It's like things don't just appear, you know, things that we have to do. Sometimes we have to exercise discipline, and that means doing it sometimes when it doesn't feel great. It might feel super awkward, or, you know, even like answering those questions with Jonathan, it's like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was going to say something wrong, or like it was so new and so weird, but it was like, it created growth, and it was discipline that I think has kept us there.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to lead it.
Yes.
Right. And that's where I look to the men, and I say, be the priest of your home.
Yeah.
Like shepherd and nurture and provoke in a good sense, like those things in your wife or in your children. I want to ask you, like, there is clearly some level of issue with men wanting to lead their family spiritually. But like, what do you think is a core issue to that? Because I feel like we've all seen it. We've all seen, you know, men were like, bro, you're a great leader at work. You coach your kid's flag football team.
Yeah.
But it's weird because it feels like you don't have the confidence to lead your wife spiritually, but it's in you. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think the biggest attribute to that is just it's the scheme of the enemy. Like, even now, like I was gonna make a joke when you were saying that. I was gonna say, dude, you're so sexist, because of the day and age in which we live. I believe like we are equal. Men and women, we're equal. Marilyn and I are equal, but that doesn't mean we're the same.
Right.
So I think what tends to happen is you mean equal means the same, which absolutely we can both do the same thing. But if I'm saying that God is the mastermind, the craftsman, he decides which of us does what, and it's not because we're better at it, it's because that's the way he just designed it to be.
Yeah, that's good.
With men, I do think the spiritual part is a little bit more vulnerable. There's an intimacy and a relationship aspect to that some of us might not feel as qualified to lead. Yeah. If you're giving me facts and information and pick this, move this, change this, break this down, we might feel more comfortable with that approach. But to be vulnerable and to be honest and say, I don't really know, but I'm going to follow him as he reveals it to me, that's tough. Yeah. Yeah. But again, I just believe as we step into it, he prepares the way for us and he honors our faith and obedience and he prepares us with the right tools, surrounds us with the right people to kind of walk in that rhythm. Yeah. So I do think it's a ploy of the enemy to kind of create doubt in every man's mind that they're not really capable of it. You naturally see like women, they go all in at worship. So to see men, I still see so many men hands in their pockets. Yeah. And I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. What is that?
Yeah, I just think something still has to be broken in them. There's this feeling of discomfort that they have to embrace. Because guys can be excited in a game. The playoffs are going on now. You're getting upset and you're getting excited.
Local, dude.
Yeah. Yes. But for whatever reason, when we come in God's house, it's almost like designed to where, no, this isn't for me. Yeah. This is for my family. So I think it's a ploy of the enemy playing mind games with us as we fully step into it. And as you see other men, other good examples of men stepping up, that gives other men permission to be able to break into that as well. Yeah. It just takes a few, but it is the tension that I think every man has to embrace. It's not about you being the best. Right. It's just about you offering up the best that you have right now. But I think it causes us to feel vulnerable. And I know a lot of guys are just, they don't feel like they have the right thing to say. Yeah. And their wife just seems so much better at it. So I'm just going to let her run the point on it. Yeah. You do that for so long, after a while, what? You're going to want her to now stop because now you're ready?
Right.
So, yeah.
So what did you think, like earlier today, I talked a little bit about the nakedness of the soul. Yeah. Is really what I was talking about. And it takes me back to the garden. They were naked and felt no shame. Well, that was before the fall. After the fall, the immediate first feeling they have is shame. Yeah. And I think that was physical in a sense, but I also think it's spiritual. Yeah. And what did you think? I mean, were you in agreement?
Yeah,
when I said,
no,
like,
it makes
there's
sense.
a vulnerability with men because our soul is naked. Yeah.
It makes so much sense, especially in the simplest. I say simple, but when it comes to prayer, like that's almost up there with public speaking for a lot of folks. So if I'm asking you, can you bless the food? And that's basic. Yeah. Imagine if it's like, can you lead your wife in prayer? It's like, what are we gonna? What am I gonna pray about? Like, do I got to say this out loud? Because again, you feel this pressure to have to do it right. So the words got to be right. I got to make sure I'm leading and I'm using the right words and I'm not misusing this. And so, the feeling of being like vulnerable, naked before the Lord, before my wife, hoping during my prayer I don't hear a chuckle, because I'm out of here. She's laughing,
because you're so vulnerable. Yeah. Right. Whereas if you stumbled while you're walking down the hallway and she laughed, you'd be like, whatever. Yeah. But you're so vulnerable in that moment, like the slightest feeling of something's off, and it's like, I'm good. Yeah. It's self-preservation.
You guys as men, like, you're protectors, you're conquerors, all these things that you're supposed to be, again, the roles that you have. And so as you're exposing yourself, even in intimacy, there's a conquer part. You know what I mean? Like you were talking this morning about, physical and physical. When you're physically exposing, there's still a conquer there. So when you're spiritually exposing, I think it is so foreign to men. It is definitely foreign to women, but stereotypically, we're way more in tune with our feelings and our emotions. And so as men, when you're exposing, it is a true vulnerability that you don't know if you're going to be able to conquer that, whatever it is, if you're putting those sort of labels on there. And so I think it's probably, I'm assuming it's a really hard shift for you guys to go, okay, but if you also think of it in the way of, if we as husband and wife, I am the one safe space that you should have. Yeah. If it is viewed in that regard and it truly is that safe space, then that should be able to happen. I just know that's not always the case. Yeah. So I think we have to fight for that safe space of the no chuckling or of the, you're in my mind, I could think you're probably going to do this wrong when you're praying, or I could even think, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that, or like whatever. Yeah. But I think if you feel safe and if you feel secure in that way, it's different. But it's a very intimate relationship. It's not something that you would even do in front of friends or that you would do in front of a group of people. But when there's that safety there, I think it opens up the freedom for that.
Yeah, that's good,
dude. I remember the first time I prayed for you aloud. Like to this day, it was more than 25 years ago. I remember where we were. I remember the feeling, like the hot blood rushing to your head because you're so nervous.
Right.
And, I was 18 years old at that time. She was going to Brazil on a mission trip. And I was like, I need to lay hands and pray for her, and I did. But I remember that feeling. And I wonder about the men who are 35 right now and they've never prayed for the wife. That's not their fault.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
there has to be a first time for everything.
There has to be an initiation of that.
Absolutely.
But I remember the intimidation factor. Yeah. And I remember just like, man, I'm going to screw this up. Joy had been a Christian her whole life. Not me. I'm new. I'm fresh.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, I'm going to say the wrong thing or whatever. So my
you
question.
Did great.
I appreciate that.
You passed.
Yeah.
So I would ask you guys. So if you were sitting here with a younger couple, what are you saying to the husband about taking that first step? And then what are you saying to the wife about that first step?
I would say first, I guess it's kind of repeating what you said, but to lead well, which means taking the first step, which means being an initiator of some of this. I think for the woman, it would be allow your husband to lead. Because I think so many times as women, we're so used to, well, if he's not going to do it, I'm going to do it and I'm going to run this ship and I've got this going on. But we don't allow and create that safe space for him to be able to lead us. And I think once he starts making those initial steps and he starts moving into this, I think we naturally see that. And even though it may feel awkward, we still need to allow him to lead. And I just think it's hard for women sometimes we want them to be something that they're not. And so we kind of built it up in our heads of what it ought to look like. Yeah. And that's one of the things.
I'm going to use an analogy here, but I'll say this. I think for a man, one of the most frustrating things is when he is trying to serve his wife and he loads the dishwasher and she comes in behind him and rearranges the dishes inside the dishwasher. I think that's very defeating for a man.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm trying to serve you, and what you've just done is tell me I'm doing it wrong. And I think sometimes if that's the dynamic in the relationship, well, sure, a guy's not going to want to be vulnerable in that moment and lead in prayer because he's afraid she's going to come in and rearrange everything you just said.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I agree. The safe space is huge for me. It's always been.
Yeah. So I would say to the men that it may just be me, but I would think for the wives, I truly don't want to lead. Like, and that is in some part selfish. Like, I don't want to be responsible for whatever you are called to be the head of our home. You're called to be the head of our marriage. You're called to be the head of our children. And I know submission is a dirty word. We won't get into that. But at the end of the day, I truly do not want that responsibility to be the head of our household, spiritually or physically. Right. And so I know some women who are like, I can do it all myself. I can do and probably I could. But you're going to do it better because the Lord has called you to do it.
Yes.
So I would say to the men, step into that role with confidence. And I would say to the women, sometimes you have to step back. Like, again, I could probably do some things better, but that doesn't mean I should do them. Right. And I should allow you to do that because in that way it allows you to lead.
Yeah. Right.
So
that's good.
That was good.
I mean, it was real good.
I think for the fellas, I think we have to, because it kind of lines up with discipleship. I think it's part of our job to walk the guys through this. So rather than saying, this is what you need to do, and we never like practice it with you, I think that would help these guys to just say, all right, this is kind of like what it looks like, and then show it to them. Yeah. Because I could imagine one of the most nerve-wracking moments is like when the pastor says, let's pray as a family, and then husbands, just pray over your family right now. And it's like, what in the world is this guy doing?
Out loud?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I'm never coming back here.
Yeah. I think even being mindful of that, what a huge task you put before them, and you have no idea if they've ever done it before. Yeah. So when we make these gatherings for the men, like, help equip them not to fail.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Because even though you're 10 steps ahead, someone's 10 steps behind you.
Yeah.
And you've got to lead them along the way.
And I do think as men, though, it's easy to adopt the mentality, well, you should be here already. Mm-hmm. You just got to do, and all that. And I understand that to a degree, but we all started somewhere. Yeah. And it's not where we are today. We started way back somewhere else, 10 steps back. And so to make that area, even wives need to make space for men to lead, but men need to make space for men to lead and to coach along. So I want to pivot just a little bit. Mm-hmm. You guys were talking more about, or one of the things that I said was how you guys serve so well together, and I feel like that creates a spiritual bond. Mm-hmm. Are there other things or habits that you've done that you feel like have really strengthened you guys in that way?
I think anytime her and I can work where we're making him the center, I think we become better for it. So like when it came to parenting, it was the same thing. We say stuff like our family's our number one ministry. But again, if that's not truly what it is, you will put these other opportunities before that. Right. So while some guys might have felt a certain way about me coming in later with the kids, like, those kids are my prized possession. Right. So never did I feel like I'm catching the short end of the stick. Yeah. That's good. So being on mission, like truly on mission, whether it was home life, whether it was when we were serving together at youth, whether it was when she was serving on worship and I was bringing my family and bringing them all into class, like it all served a purpose. So I think we were still on mission. Like there was still clear conversations of where we were at in this season. So I think as long as we kept him center, I would even encourage every couple, as long as you keep him center, what you do, one, can be worship unto the Lord. Two, can draw you guys closer together in your marriage as you are, again, walking in your different roles. And three is ultimately still worship to the Lord, whatever it is that you do. So him being the center, the rock solid center, I think that is key. We have seen the gap or the space that could occur when her and I were like, we're still doing ministry, but like our ministry path, like they never crossed. So she's over here doing this, I'm over here doing this. We're so busy, we got different teams. It didn't hit the same as when we felt like we were a part of the same mission and both of our hands were getting put to the work. So even that, I think there was some red flags looking into it where you could be so busy and exhausted that though you're busy for the kingdom, you think it's going to produce the same results that it did in the past. It just kind of got you guys busy and you realize, bro, it's been a while since we really talked about anything. Yeah. So I think you got to be intentional with both seasons that you find yourself in.
Yeah, I think the thing you said that we always talk about is it's marriage on a mission. Mm. And so like having, like that's something that we always talked about. Like Jonathan would say, hey, what do we want for our family? What do we want to see in our family? And I remember the 5-year goal thing. And I was like, I can't write, goals for 5 years. Like I'm such a fly by the seat of your pants kind of gal, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. And so I think, remembering what the mission was, because even when we worked in youth ministry, like it's not like we were holding hands the whole time and doing every little thing. Right. But when you would cast vision or we would have our leaders trips, there were things that you would give us and we would take home and discuss and walk through and go, what does that look like for us? Yeah. What does it look for us as a family? What's going on with the kids? So I think in everything, having the mission in mind creates that space where it's like, whatever we're doing ministry together. And there were seasons, I think, that it was harder just because, like you said, they sort of they didn't all automatically line up perfectly. It was like I might have been over here and he was over there. But even in those seasons, we tried to really bring back what's going on between the two of us and sharing what that looked like for both of us. That I think when we didn't have those times where we were together, it allowed us to still feel connected.
Right.
It allowed us to still feel like we were growing together because it was a shared experience. It wasn't just, well, I'm doing me and you're doing you, you know?
Okay, so on those check-ins that y'all are talking about, I would love to know the difference of what those early day questions were, homeschool, parenting sort of situations. What do those check-in questions sound like now for you guys in marriage? Because now you know each other differently.
Yeah.
So you would think that you would run out of questions.
Right.
But the questions are just way different.
Yeah.
They're way different. Sure. Well, we change as people. We grow. There, you know, who I was at 18 is not the same as I am at 43. So I think a lot of the questions that sometimes when we have to check in on one another, it starts to go back to some of the basic things, like looking at, I hope this is okay to say, but like, how often are you having sex? You know, when was the last time we spoke? You know, when was the last time that we held hands? When was the last time that we ate in a meal together where we're just looking at one another? So I think in the beginning at 18, there was so much life ahead of us that it was like, this is a wide open space. Right. Now that we know each other, we know the kind of things that we expect from one another, or, you know, how we do things, that I think it's more basic. It's more simple, if that makes sense.
Because in the beginning, those things are natural.
Right.
You're going to have meals together. You don't have children. You don't have other responsibilities. You're going to be a little touchy. You know, like those things are just very natural in the beginning. And that's what I'm saying. When life happens, there's the natural drift. And so you're absolutely right. It does come back to just like the basics. Like, bro, when's the last time I checked on your soul?
It doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
It doesn't have to be deep. Your questions don't have to be deep. I know you differently now. So my simple question can still bring about the same question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I remember, you know, there was a struggle when we were moving. It felt like we were in a season of wilderness, and it was difficult. And I remember even just recently asking Jonathan, since he's come on to staff, like, how do you feel? Like, are you happy? Do you feel different now that you're in your calling, kind of say? And I think it does bring us back to those simple things and not just pushing things off and acting like it, you know, everything's great. But really, I want to know, you know, how are you feeling now that you're walking in a different space in your life? Bring me in on that, you know.
So talking about, you know, the basic conversations, it's funny because Joy and I will have these conversations, and there are times where we'll start talking about something that is kind of basic or just check in or whatever. And there are now times where I'll look at her and I'll say, I can't talk about this right now. I'm on edge. I'm frustrated. This conversation is going to further, and it's not even about her. It's like a situation or whatever the case is. And I don't know that I felt that freedom early on, but as marriage has matured and we've evolved, now she's like, oh, okay, we probably should stay away from that. Now we come back and revisit it at another time, but timing is so crucial. And so I think that's why we're such advocates for scheduling time together, scheduling date nights or weekends away or whatever the case is, because we want to make sure that, you know, we have enough space in our life that if we're going through a rough season, in a matter of time, you're going to catch me on a good day. Like there's going to there are going to be times like we're good to talk about this. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
And so again, I think that's just the nature of the intentionality of time together, conversation that matters, questions that are thought provoking. Those types of things are really good for the soul.
And two, getting out of the house. Like I you know, when the kids were much younger, you know, sometimes you created those date nights where like once they're finally asleep.
Right.
But then there were times that like I'm a homebody and I just want to stay home. I'm not interested.
I love your back porch, so I would stay there too.
I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I just want to stay. But Jonathan would be like, no, we need to get up and go out and make it intentional instead of just like, all right, I'm here, I'm chilling. We're both on our phones while we're, you know, in the same room. And it's like, man, we haven't even spoken to one another. So I think sometimes even just getting up and leaving the house is enough to help spark that.
But again, it's that intentionality.
Yeah.
So do you guys, I know you pray for your wife. I know you pray for Jonathan. Do you pray together?
So I think when she's going through stuff, we pray together.
Yes.
Just to pray together. I think we're on two different waves, like when we spend time with the Lord and stuff.
Yeah.
Same.
but it's not. We've done it enough where it's not awkward if
Yeah.
we were to.
Right.
But I don't think it's a regular rhythm of ours.
We don't like do devos together
Yeah.
or anything like
Yeah,
that either. But I know, like, you know, this is a moment I need to step in. I need to lay hands. I need to pray. And there is a comfortability with that. But there are some couples that they're like, before I leave in the morning, we're praying. You know,
Yeah.
which I think is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm just like it's inspiring.
Yeah.
But also like people are wired differently.
Yes.
And so I was curious about that. I know that prayer is a bonding agent. It really is. But again, the difference between praying with your partner and praying for them.
Yeah.
And usually we're praying for each other, not
Right.
necessarily with each other. But when the time's required, you know, we're praying with each other. We're praying as a family every day, you know, but as far as just her and I,
Right.
it is more rare
Yeah.
that we just
Yeah.
take time to pray together.
Well,
so I
even
was
when you
just
were
curious.
saying in your message about remembering even to pray in celebratory times, like I think that's something we definitely don't do enough of. Where I think when things are, you know, a struggle or feel like I'm going through something, it feels natural to go to Jonathan. But I think sometimes we do forget that even in the celebratory moments, those are important too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not just when the house is on fire, you
Yeah.
know.
So tell me about this. So I talked a little bit about sacred pathways and knowing how each other like connects with the Lord. Have you guys, and again, I know we evolve, we all change. Like I'm not the same I was 20 years ago, but have you guys narrowed down like what you think the best way that Jonathan connects with the Lord, or is it?
I think so. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I think through the word. Jonathan is very much a stand on the word kind of guy. And I think in his reading, he's more apt to really get in his word and really seek the Lord that way from what I've seen.
Yeah. We haven't done it as much, but I do know, like, Marilyn is one where being in the mountains, being in nature is like her sweet spot. Like that's when she feels she connects most with him. And she is a reader as well. It's funny how many fiction books she goes through. There's times I have to hold back and be
How
like,
many what?
fictions.
Oh,
fiction
I thought you
books.
said fishing. I was like, what
Maybe
don't I
that-
know?
maybe
mountain.
that too.
Okay.
Fishing in mountains. I'm that kind of girl.
So the if I'm not careful, that part of me would be like, you should be reading something
That
more
matters.
substance.
Right, right.
There's no
Theology,
hobby
but,
reading here.
No, I definitely think she really connects with the Lord most through nature.
Yeah. I think Joy connects mostly, and we haven't even really talked about this, but I think she connects mostly through solitude. I think she needs her space, she needs her time. I think she needs moments to process and all those. Am I hitting?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, no, leave me alone. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, and yours is, of course, through, much like Jonathan, y'all are both wired the same, through study, through that sort of stuff. But also, I mean, you do enjoy nature in a different way than I do. You look at it and you're like, wow. When we're driving through the mountains and going to Asheville and to Gatlinburg, you're like talking to the kids every time. And I'm like, yeah.
I'm like constantly, I'm like, man, the Lord
He's like,
shaped
yes.
these
Yeah,
mountains.
he's like,
with
you
his
see that
hand,
up there?
bro."
And he's like, and I'm just like,
Mine's the moon. I'm always like, look at the moon. Look how beautiful the moon is.
Yeah.
and I can appreciate it, but not the same way. And so it proves like we're all wired differently, but that is all from the Creator. So
Yeah.
But I do think it helps me to know if Joy grows in solitude, I need to make space for her to have that. And if she knows I grow through study, she's got to give me time to be with the Lord and all that. Okay, so I want to ask, when you guys do have those spiritual conversations, what do they look like? Are they more about, you know, the journey and what you're experiencing with the Lord, or do y'all go like headlong into Jonathan's study where he's like, did you see what, you know, so and so said about the doctrine of the Trinity?
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Which vein?
I feel like I'm more apt to ask Jonathan questions about things that I may not understand. I might say like, hey, so do you think this is normal, or like, is it okay? Like right now, we just talked about this. Like, what does a quiet time look like? Like, what is that? Like, I'll ask, is it supposed to be this? Is it supposed to be that? Or am I allowed the freedom of like what it could look like for me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, I get more curious. So yeah, that's more me. I get more curious about
But
things.
it fuels something. right? It fuels something inside of you, and that's a very benign question.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's good. What do you think?
I definitely have the conversations where I like to talk about certain subject matters or certain things that are going on. Is what do you think about this? Like how should we be standing with that? But again, I love the church, so I love to talk about what we do, and just make sure that at the end of the day we are representing Him well in what we do or what we put on for other folks. So, I think
when you're in the ministry, it's very hard to separate the two. It's kind of like when you go on those first few date nights after having a baby, you're always going to talk about the baby, right? And even years into parenting, you're going to do that. So I think it's very hard in ministry to separate the two. But I know what you're saying. Be intentional to not only talk about ministry.
And it's all mixed.
Yes, it's the heart of who we are.
Right. Okay, so let's wrap this up. One last question. Let's say that you have a young couple here, a husband and wife, and they love Jesus, they love their family, they love ministry, but they want to make sure that they are able to develop spiritual intimacy for the long haul, like for the next 25 years. What do you say to them are some of the most important things they should be doing today to foster that spiritual intimacy for the long haul?
To first look at the word before going to like the practicals, I would tell them to love the Lord their God with all their heart, mind, and soul. Like that has to be, it can't just be the verse that is on your fridge. It has to be something that daily you are visiting. I always say it, and I know when people hear this, they're like, bro, you're gaslighting. I don't think marriage is hard. Marriage is hard when I want my own way. If I walk in this covenant the way He's called me to, my goal is to serve her and to think about her. Her goal is vice versa. Right. When we both walk in that way, it is pretty easy because I'm thinking about her. I'm looking to meet her needs. She's doing the same for me in a way that honors the Lord. Marriage is hard when I want what I want.
So marriage isn't hard. Dying is hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would encourage new couples to kind of, one, if you're going to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, like that means you're going to follow what His word is saying, the example He sets for us in Scripture, which is putting Him first. Yeah. And because He is so mindful of His kids, that becomes then if you really want to love me, then love my people, take care of my people. So there's a reciprocation that He allows to take place as that. But again, that's easier said than done.
Sure.
Because we see all these other examples, and then we want that. Or I want my spouse to be more like his spouse. Right. Oh man, she does that for you. Like, then I'm like, she don't do that for me. Again, you're taking your eye off the mark. One of the best books I've ever read in regards to marriage was Francis Chan book, You and Me in Light of Eternity.
Yeah.
And that book is not any type of like marriage book that you would think. It is all about the mindset of, I want to live my life in such a way where I prepare her for when she stands before the Lord.
Wow.
So when you are so kingdom minded and eternity minded, you don't settle on these little petty arguments. That's like, well, how can he feed my love language? It's like, if I am thinking about when you stand before the Lord, I want to do everything that when he sees you, he says, well done.
That's good.
So I'm going to set her up for success in all that she does, because I'm thinking about my Father's daughter.
Yeah.
But again, that's you're not going to find a lot of people that think like that.
Yeah. So here's one of my issues with Christian culture, and I believe it's a necessary evil, but I do think it's the wrong target.
Mm-hmm.
It's pragmatics. Mm-hmm. We live in a culture that says, do it if it works, right? But in spiritual principles, we don't do things because they work. We do them out of obedience, right? And so I think that the pragmatic side of marriage relationships, you got to take out the trash. Mm-hmm. You've got to encourage. You've got to do those pragmatic things. But those are kind of on the exterior of the heart and soul of, but if I see this as covenant, if I love Christ, if I love her, these things won't be the work and effort that I've made them out to be in my head. They will kind of naturally just come about. Mm-hmm. But when you start on the outside of just trying to do all the things that work, you kind of vacate the middle, the most essential. So I feel like that's what what
absolutely
saying.
Yeah.
But again, you got to do all those things,
right?
But at the core of who you are,
Yeah.
Well, and like Stan said a couple of episodes back, don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff.
Yeah.
So those things, like you're saying, if we just, it's easier said than done, but if we can just knock that noise off and just stick to the heart of it, it's all small stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I would add one other thing. We've had such a good journey with our kids. But I've also realized a large part of our marriage has been our kids, and we have worked hard, and we have loved every minute of it. Our house is quiet at times. They are all working. There are times we don't see any of them till 10:30 at night. And it has been a realization of there are things we have to get back to and relearn about each other, because we have been so busy in doing good things, but I don't know how much time we've set aside. So like we have made, I think it was very timely, because it's allowed us to fixate back on tweaks we have to make. I just want to encourage those that have been married for a while. We go through waves and seasons of life.
100%.
4 kids in and they're rolling out, like so much of our time has been with them that now it's like, man, we got to kind of relearn. Like, what do you like doing now? Because like now we got I'm so glad no one's here. It's peace and quiet. Right. After a while, that gets old. Peace and quiet, and it's like, so what do you want to do? So even now, we're trying to relearn what are some things that we can do together that we will enjoy in this new season. Because before you know it, I'm not calling it out, but there will be grandkids, and so then even that, if we're not careful, then we'll get busy in that season. And so,
but bro, the fight.
The
fight. And it's so good for younger couples to hear that. You're a quarter of a century into marriage and you're still fighting for the relationship. And I think that's a great point. Like when you're younger, you tend to look at older couples and you think it's ideal. And you're just like, man, they never argue and like they seem to have it together. Bro, that is not reality. Like we're all broken and we're all in the midst of growing. But for me, that's why we wanted to do this. It wasn't to say like, hey, look what we're doing. It's to say, hey, we're all still trying to figure it out. For me, it's all about the fight. It's like, bro, I want to surround myself with people that understand the covenant and they understand that it's worth the fight to get back up again. Well, you guys, thanks so much. Honest to God, I mean that. I'm so grateful for your friendship for all these years, but also you making the trek down from Charlotte to be here with us. I know it's going to be fruitful, man, on so many levels. And so for the rest of you guys, we will see you here back next week. But for now, Joy's going to close us out in prayer.
Father, thank you for the divine timing that Jonathan mentioned about recalibrating even throughout this conversation. And that's our prayer. And that's our hope, is that through sitting at this table, there's going to be recalibrating through the marriages of Christian life and those that are listening. We thank you for the tools that you have given us in your word. Our prayer is that we will all go back to the basics. Our prayer is that through listening to the voices that are here, that we would just be stronger together, we would be stronger individually, and that your name would be honored and glorified through it all. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.